अब जो है इसको यहाँ से स्टॉप कर लीजिए, ये स्टॉप स्टॉप शेयर यहाँ से होना चाहिए।
So who will read out first?
Sir, I can begin.
Okay. You are just
Prakhar, sir, the first story.
Prakhar. Okay. So story number 2, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. चलो शुरू करो.
It was in the doc that was shared like yesterday.
अच्छा, yesterday's document. Okay, यहाँ पे नहीं है क्या? हाँ.
नहीं सर, इसमें नहीं दिखा.
ऊपर होगा क्या? देखो तुम.
स्क्रॉल तो कर लिया इन्होंने सारा, बट दिखा नहीं इसमें.
Okay, you are Prakhar, na? What's your name?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा,
So Prakhar.
हाँ, just I'll check my Gmail to find out whether it was mailed to me. So हम का है and ओची बिचपुरा. तुमने मेल किया था क्या?
यस सर, मेल करा था. कल वाले डॉक में भी था सर वो स्टोरी.
कल वाला डॉक किसके पास होगा? मेरे पास तो नहीं है. तो आप उसको डॉक्यूमेंट है, देख. कल वाला डॉक ना.
स्टोरी सर कल मैंने सुबह भेज दी थी अराउंड 10 PM के आसपास. 10 AM.
एक सेकंड. तुषार जाधव. प्रखर ना. स्टोरी नंबर 1
Yes,
तो
sir.
मैं है पार्टिंग अराउंड द क्रूज आउट ऑफ रिसर्च पैसेज 2. यहाँ पे था क्या कल तुम्हारा? नहीं, यहाँ पे नहीं है. Lost home. Yeah, is it lost home?
Yes, sir.
Acha, I have found this lost home. So what you can do, you have the document in front of you, na?
Yes, sir, I do.
Acha, can you share that on the screen? Can you? Is it possible for you to share?
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, I've joined using my phone, so I'll be sharing with that.
Okay, but we'll be able to see it on the screen? Will
Yes, sir.
everybody can see it? Because that's very important. Everybody needs to see it. Yeah. Chalo, karo.
Is the screen visible?
The screen. This will stop others from sharing. Do you want? No, it's not visible. But anyway, you can read out instead of wasting time, because you read out. Others also listen very carefully to what he's reading. Okay, it's called the Lost Home, arrested due to mistaken identity, a religious zealot causes a political uprising, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
धीरे धीरे पढ़ो so that others can hear what you're reading out. Okay, chalo.
Sure. This is the story of Aryan Sharma. Aryan was a proud Pahadi. At
Dekho,
just 18.
एक second. Dekho, don't write this
Yes.
is the story of Aryan, because of course we know it is somebody's story, so you don't have to mention. We can straight away write Aryan Sharma was a proud Pahari at just 18, so you can straight away begin like that. Okay, because you're stating the obvious. Of course, it is Aryan's story. Chalo. Anyway, paro.
All right. At just 18, he had already mastered Sanskrit and had vast knowledge of ancient Indian texts, being a devout Hindu himself. His knowledge didn't only bring him a deep admiration for his culture, but also a sense of anger at the blatant attack on it by the forces not indigenous, especially at the Tibetans infiltrating his hometown, McLeodganj. He despised their overwhelming presence and their impact on his home turf, their unvedic teachings, and their control of the local social scenario. He believed that their influence had reduced the indigenous people to second-grade citizens in their own motherland. He decided to do something about it. Picking up a placard, he wrote in a bold font, "Free McLeodganj, flee McLeodganj," and proceeded to protest in front of a group of protesting refugee Tibetans. Their calls of free Tibet angered him more. It proved to him how they didn't care about McLeodganj and its people and only thought about their own lost home. He matched their shouts of free Tibet with an equally loud call for free McLeodganj. This went on for a few days, and the number of protesting Tibetans grew. Aryan, whereas had just himself supporting his cause. The politicians and police tried to move the protest to less crowded parts of the town, owing to it being the most lucrative tourist season of the hill town, and the business owners complaining about the protests affecting their business. Some claims about tourists being harassed were also made. After a week of unsuccessful negotiations between the protesters and the authorities, the police came down hard. Surrounding them from all sides, they handcuffed them all and put them up in a lockup. Aryan, too, thought to be protesting alongside the Tibetans, found himself sitting with a bunch of these protesting monks in the lockup. By that very night, the influential Tibetans found bail and left the confines of the prison, except for one, the one who went by the name of Yongling. He asked Aryan if someone would bail him out, to which he curtly replied no. Yongling requested the police to release Aryan too, along with them, but they denied him an immediate release. Aryan was to spend the night in lockup and reflect on his actions. The injustice infuriated Aryan even more. There he was, a lone protester, protesting for his own people, and for that he had been told to reflect on his actions, while the Tibetans were free to go. But not all Tibetans went. Yongling decided to stay back till Aryan was released as well. Aryan, initially uncomfortable with the idea of spending an entire night with a Tibetan, found himself talking to Yongling as the moon got brighter. Yongling was informed about Aryan's plight, and Aryan about Yongling's. Yongling talked about the Chinese attack on Tibet of 1959 and how around 85,000 of protesting Tibetans were eliminated, how the monasteries of Sera, Ganden, and Drupang were destroyed beyond repair, and how the imprisoned monks suffered barbarous punishments at the hands of the Chinese. The discussion continued till daybreak, and soon Aryan and Yongling were released. Aryan went back home and began his research on the Tibetan protests and exodus. The more he read, the more he sympathized with their cause. His talks with Yongling continued, and soon he found himself protesting alongside the Tibetans with more frequent visits to the lockup. Aryan organized debates and discussions between the locals and the Tibetans, where they talked about their plights, exchanged ideas, and talked about reforms. Their combined voices grew louder with passing time, and the authorities grew wary of the unrest in the hill town, finally deciding to put up Aryan in Tihar. This caused a massive uproar amongst the people of McLeodganj, who decided to follow Aryan to New Delhi and continue their protests outside the jail. But their protest wasn't against the authorities of India. Aryan claimed through his letters to Yongling and the protesters. He requested them to direct their angers toward the usurpers far up north of Himalayas, the ones beyond the borders of India. Thousands of protesters gathered in front of the Chinese embassy in New Delhi. The media was present too. The voices were loud, their demands were loud, loud enough for Aryan to hear them from miles away, loud enough for the world to hear them.
Okay, I think this is a beautiful story. It talks about a character who's like a kind of a religious zealot, as we say, okay, and how he transformation of a religious zealot uh, into a more tolerant person, and how he comes to identify with the cause of the people he has been protesting against. So it's a good
Yes,
story. So the graph, the character transformation, we call it the character arc, is very good. Okay, and but the only problem that I have, it,
hmm.
it it looks, so the way you have written, it looks like the summary of a novel. This can be actually expanded into a very good novel. Okay, or novella. But what is required in these kind of exercises or writing assignments, as I was telling you, all of you yesterday, try to pull down your story into, the time span of your story should be extremely concentrated, maybe, spanning a couple of hours or a couple of days. Yours is like, has a huge span of time. Okay, so that is the only
Right,
thing.
sir.
That is the only thing that I have to say about your story. This is number one. Number two.
So one thing I would
Bolo.
like to ask.
Mhm.
So the prompts that I chose, like a religious zealot imprisoned incorrectly and transform and causing a political uprising. So
Hmm.
that prompt in itself requires a long time span to unfold.
Yeah, the, definitely it does. But the challenge is, if I am the examiner, I
Hmm.
will not mark you negatively. Okay, because
Okay.
despite covering a large time span, you have told a very sensitive story, and the transformation of the character is very good. Okay, but the idea is, try to, for example, if you could have concentrated maximum part of the story uh, inside the police station, where he's held along with the other character, Yongling, isn't it? And the bonding that
Right.
develops between the two. Okay, and the next
Okay.
morning, when he's released, okay,
Hmm.
or maybe after 2 days he's released, he has a change of heart thanks to this experience in the night. Okay, you did not develop the story beyond that point. I mean, which you have done. You have all the liberty, you have all the right to do that. Okay, and it is also
But so
good.
then
But the bonding which it develops. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Or I can't hear you. Hello. Yeah, but I can't hear Prakhar. Prakhar, where are you?
Sir, I had lost the connection for a bit.
Yeah. Okay, bolo.
Uh, so the political uprising was there to be held too. So
Political uprising is there, na? Political uprising is there in the sense ki. Acha, let me read the prompt first. One second. Where is it gone? One second.
I think, sir, we can choose a prompt like that so that itna
Arrested,
lamba time span now.
causes are, granted, arrested due to mistaken identity and religious lot causes of political uprising. In that case, what you have written actually works. ठीक है, चलो. Otherwise, you have to show him causing a political uprising. That is there. So it might lead to Delhi and Tihar jail now. ठीक है, cool, no problem.
So we can choose a prompt that doesn't require such a long time span.
Yeah, but if you choose a prompt, like this, then definitely I accept. Yeah, definitely it would cover a wide span of time. So there's nothing wrong with it. Okay.
All right, sir.
Okay. So because the prompt itself prompts you to cover a wider span of time. Okay.
Right.
So so it's okay. It works that way. Yeah. Chalo. Now who is next? और कौन है बोलो?
Yeah, this is my story, sir. Shall I read it out? Hello? Hello?
कौन अभिरोनी पड़ेगा? अभिरोनी?
Sir, this is my story. Hello?
अच्छा, अभिरोनी ना? अच्छा.
Am I audible?
What is your story? Is it planned for a perfect murder?
No, in the name.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. In the name of act is the title. So I have chosen these three prompts, sir, while searching for a lost umbrella and out of work artist, and then becomes obsessed.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, so who are you, Jatin Gupta? Okay.
Yeah.
My elements while searching for a lost umbrella, and out of work artist becomes obsessed with a stranger.
Yes.
Okay, ठीक है, चलो, yeah, करो.
Okay. So Prakhar has got a very charismatic personality. He is no doubt a great actor, but he's
after whole day of shooting, this male actor Prabhakar.
Yeah, plot is this. After whole day of shooting, this male actor Prakhar is searching his umbrella on the set as it is raining outside, but instead he meets this stranger and gets obsessed.
Playboy.
Okay. So that was the plot. Now, Prakhar has got a very charismatic personality. He's no doubt a great actor, but he is a big-time playboy. This keeps him from achieving great heights in life. But he doesn't realize this or care enough about it. Even after being 10 years inside the entertainment industry, he only gets short film advertising projects, etc. He often comes late on set, perform his act, and then finds some women to get laid with. Today, Prakhar is giving his last great performance of the day on the set of a short film called Last Wish. There are gaffers, actors, cameramen, and various artists scattered all around the set.
Roll down, please. Roll down, please. Just a moment, Jatin. Just a moment. Roll. Just a moment. Prakhar. Just a moment. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, please? Just whoever is controlling the page, please scroll up so I can see.
Okay. Sir,
Yeah.
shall I read from start or what?
Start reading from today.
Okay.
Jatin, I can't hear you.
Sir, I also lost, like your connection is a little lagging. I don't know what is happening. Okay, so I'll start reading from,
No. Start reading from today.
okay. So we'll have to
Today,
scroll.
Prakhar is giving his last great performance.
Yeah.
Master.
Okay. Today, Prakhar is giving his last great performance of the day on the set of a short film called Last Wish. There are gaffers, actors, cameramen,
Yeah. Start reading. Yeah.
and various artists scattered all around the set. He is acting as a protagonist in this short film, but this time he gets to play his all-time favorite character, that is of a romantic lover. But this short film has got a very sad ending, as our hero ends up alone and doesn't get his girl in the end. Well, shoot is now over and director calls out, cut, pack up, and everyone is supposed to collect their things and leave. It is raining outside and everyone has quickly left in their cars and taxis. There is no women left around for Prakhar to take home today. So he also packs up his stuff and searches for his missing umbrella. Looks like he has lost it. It is raining outside and he has to walk to his apartment. Prakhar doesn't want to get wet, so he sits on a chair to relax a bit, puts his arm on the table and gives his head a little rest on his wrist. He's staring at the rain outside and trying to recall all the memories of his character that he just played in the short film. He recalls all the kissing, hugging, and the cuddling, and how all women adored and loved him in the film. But he frowns a little on the sad fact that his girlfriend runs away with another guy. Real life, Prakhar would have never given up on such a beautiful girl at any cost. Prakhar is lost in his wild imagination, thinking all about the film, comparing himself to the character he played. Suddenly, someone gets inside on the.
Jatin, can you hear me?
Sir, yeah. Hello. Sir, I cannot hear you. I don't know if my network is slow or yours. Okay. Sir, you are not audible. I can see you, but you are not audible. Same, you are not audible yet. Sir, sorry, but you are not audible. अभी भी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. Maybe try unmuting yourself. If that.
Hello.
Yeah, sir, you are audible now.
Hello.
Hello. So when you connected headphones, you were audible for a little while, but now you are not. Sir, you are still not audible. Maybe there's some permission issues in your phone. I don't know. Sir, आवाज नहीं आ रही है. Maybe there are some permission problem in your phone. Maybe try giving permission to microphone and
Yeah, folks, can you hear me now? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Finally.
Okay, Jatin, please read it again. Yeah, I lost my connection. The
Sure.
place जहाँ पे मैं हूँ अभी has a very lousy connection. Yeah, please read it again. Yeah.
Sure, sir. Can you scroll whoever? Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Read it from the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. Prakhar has got a very charismatic personality. He's no doubt a great actor, but he's a big time playboy. This keeps him from achieving great heights in life, but he doesn't realize this or care enough about it. Even after being 10 years inside the entertainment industry, he only gets short film advertising projects, etc. He often comes late on set, perform his act, and then find some women to get laid with. Today, Prakhar is giving his last great performance of the day on the set of a short film called Last Wish. There are gaffers, actors, cameramen, and various artists scattered all around the set. He is acting as a protagonist in this short film, and this time he gets to play his all time favorite character, that is, of a romantic lover. But this short film has got a very sad ending as our hero ends up alone and doesn't get his girl in the end. Well, shoot is now over and director calls out cut and pack up, and everyone is now supposed to collect their things and leave. It is raining outside and everyone has quickly left in their cars and taxis. There is no women left around for Prakhar to take home today. So he also packs up his stuff and searches for his missing umbrella. Looks like he has lost it. It is raining outside and he has to walk to his apartment. Prakhar doesn't want to get wet. So he sits on a chair to relax a bit, puts his arm on the table and gives his head a little rest on his wrist. He is staring at the rain outside and trying to recall all the memories of his character that he just played in this short film. He recalls all the kissing, hugging, and the cuddling, and how all women adored and loved him in the film. But he frowns a little on the sad fact that his girlfriend runs away with another guy. Real life Prakhar would have never given on such a beautiful girl at any cost. Prakhar is lost in his wild imagination, thinking all about the film, comparing himself to the character he played. Suddenly, someone gets inside on the film set and calls out, "Am I late? Is anyone there? Koi hai?" Prakhar snaps back into reality and sees a gorgeous young lady in front of him, a complete stranger, all wet, calling out for someone. A perfect silhouette of a curved body shape against the white contrast of the daylight outside. The girl keeps looking around, calling out for some casting director's name, but finds no one around except a few set dadas who are busy disassembling the set. The girl runs towards Prakhar and asks him in a very warm and polite tone, "मैं audition के लिए आई हूँ sir. Are you the casting director Rohit?" Prakhar instantly uses this opportunity and disguises himself as a random casting director and replies to her, "Yes, I am Rohit. You must be Anjali, right?" नहीं सर, मेरा नाम योगिता है एंड मेरा मुझे प्रज्ञा ने आपसे मिलने को यहाँ भेजा है. अच्छा हाँ योगिता, तुम्हें पता है ना ये ऑडिशन एक सेंशुअल एंड रोमांटिक स्टोरी के लिए है. सर मुझे तो ऐसा कोई ब्रीफ नहीं मिला था बट आई एम सो एक्साइटेड टू वर्क विद यू. Is there any script that then I will prepare my role within 5 minutes right away. Prakhar gives her the script of his short film and asks her to memorize the dialogues and prepare her act. Sir, I am ready. Great, please go ahead and perform. Yogita starts performing. She's a bright young actor. Her dialogues are on point and with such finesse expressions. That was good, but आप इसके ending को थोड़ा improvise करो. Imagine करो कि मैं हूँ तुम्हारा lover. Yogita hesitates a little on this response but still prepares her act in mind. She gets deep into her character. Prakhar keeps prompting her, "Thoda और real touch lao." Prakhar stands up and gets closer to Yogita as she is performing and grabs her by her waist. Yogita is really nervous now and looks down, unable to make eye contact and breathes heavily. She resists a little, but Prakhar keeps telling her to relax and go with the act. Prakhar has completely forgotten at this point that this is not his film and he is not her actual lover. Yogita asks him in a low voice to stop, but Prakhar completely ignores her and forcefully tries to kiss her, and that is when she gives him a tight slap on his cheek. Yogita runs away sobbing. Prakhar is standing there with his eyes wide open, realizing how obsessed he became in the name of it.
Okay, this is interesting. You've captured a certain moment uh, in a film studio after the shooting is over, and how he's trying to fool a girl. Okay, so what was just scroll up to the beginning, एक बार. Yeah, और थोड़ा सा हाँ. While searching for a lost umbrella and out of work artist becomes obsessed with the stranger. But is he really out of work artist?
Sir, actually, honestly, I didn't understood the prompt, and so I
The-
went
out of work artist is somebody who's actually out of who's no work. But it seems that he has been in the industry for 10 years. Okay, but he has been acting in a lot of short films. Maybe he has not acted in a feature film. He has not acted in a yeah, but he has done a lot of short films, a lot of ad films. He's a busy guy. He's not an out of work actor. Okay, and he becomes obsessed with the stranger. Yeah, the stranger, this girl who comes from an audition. Okay, so hello, can you hear me, Jatin?
yeah, sir, yeah.
या सो यहाँ पे और एक प्रॉब्लम लगा मुझे कि वो जो लड़की जो आती है शी थिंक्स दिस मैन इज अ कास्टिंग डायरेक्टर बिकॉज ये जो है तुम्हारा जो प्रोटैगनिस्ट जो है बोलता है मैं ही कास्टिंग डायरेक्टर ओके सो व्हाई विल द गर्ल से कि आई वांट टू एक्ट विद यू nobody acts with the casting director. But the casting directors का casting director का job होता है कि casting करना, acting नहीं करना. Okay.
हाँ नहीं sir, I wrote there कि I want to work with you, not to act with you. Like work as in कि he must be a famous casting director or something.
Because हाँ मुझे लगा कि I want to work with you मतलब I want to act with you.
No, not at all, sir.
अच्छा.
Not like that.
And then the girl now then he gives her a kind of a scene and he tries to become very intimate with her and all. So and the girl also goes along. So it looks the girl is quite a stupid girl. No girl would allow herself to be treated like that by a casting director. Okay, so ये थोड़ा सा मुझे problematic लगा. So थोड़ा सा flaws लगा. ये कहानी में थोड़ा सा flaws. ठीक है ना? No girl. देखो, a girl consciously can decide to sleep with the casting director for a role. That is a different thing. Okay, but a girl will not kind of rehearse a scene. Whether it's intimate or whether it is not intimate with the casting director. Okay,
I understand, sir.
But ठीक है, चलो तुमने moment capture किया, एक माहौल capture किया. Okay, and there's a climax also. The girl gets angry and she slaps him, and he comes out of this kind of whatever behavior he was engaging in. ठीक है. So the problem that I had with the story, the technical problems. ऐसा होता नहीं. Okay.
ठीक है.
चलो then, yeah. Next, कोई लॉजिकल फ्लॉ नहीं होना चाहिए. कोई भी स्टोरी तुम लिख रहे हो, it has to have some kind of a logic. Okay, चलो next person.
So it's my story. Hello.
Yeah, it's Abhishek. Yeah, Abhishek.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Shall I read, sir?
Yeah, is this your first? Were you there yesterday or? Huh?
Yeah,
Abhishek?
sir. I couldn't join, sir. I was kept outside.
ठीक है. So is this your first story or the second story?
I have sent it, sir. This is actually the second story, sir.
अच्छा, read the second story, no problem. Agony, na?
Yes.
It's called Agony. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sir. So I chose prompt as arrested due to mistaken identity. An out of work artist causes a political uprising.
अच्छा, come again. You should have written the prompt.
Yeah, sir.
फिर से बोलो.
Arrested due to mistaken identity.
Arrested due to mistaken identity.
Yes,
and then
an out of work artist causes a political uprising.
Interesting. Chalo.
Okay, sir. Shall I read?
Paro.
Okay, sir. Agony, sir. A protagonist who was looking for a job, who hasn't painted in 5 years, was on his way to the grocery. And on the way, he met one of his old friends who just came back from the United States. An art dealer promises to buy his paintings and got a steady job at his place. On the other hand, disappearance of a political leader's son becomes a widespread political uprising in the state. Been missing for days, two police officers grapple the protagonist when arrested him while on his way home from the grocery. The chief officer put him in the interrogation room and mentioned his involvement in the missing case. The CCTV footage was shown to him and is the only evidence they have got. A striking resemblance made him pledge his innocence. Fear of his family members presumed it to be true, and there was not much hope left. The protagonist tried to flee the police officers before they hand him to the court and ends up in a fight with one of the police officers and accidentally kills him. He trembled onto the ground in disbelief and pain as he could not believe what was unfolding. He gazed upon the oozing blood of the deceased. Deceased. Meanwhile, other police officers got hold on his hand. He looked at the sky and felt as it's all bearing down on him.
देखो, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जो चीज तुम्हें दिमाग में रखना चाहिए कि तुम्हारा कोई पंक्चुएशन नहीं। हाँ, तुम जब कोई भी कहानी लिख रहे हो, कोई भी प्रॉम्प्ट से कहानी डेवलप कर रहे हो, ओके, या स्क्रिप्ट लिख रहे हो, कुछ भी लिख रहे हो, पंक्चुएशन होना बहुत जरूरी है। देयर इज नो कॉमा फुल स्टॉप। मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम आई डोंट सी एनी कॉमा फुल स्टॉप। इट्स अ कंटीन्यूअस सेंटेंस, ओके। सो हूएवर इज रीडिंग इट विल गेट वेरी डिस्टर्ब्ड, ठीक है। देयर इज नो यूज ऑफ बोलो।
So I actually put it, but I couldn't see it.
You could not?
I could not see where the commas are. So it all became like in one page. I have made it in paragraphs, but it doesn't look like that. I made a mistake, sir. Maybe I made a mistake while editing.
Okay, anyway, so punctuation, at least, punctuation, otherwise it looks very careless. Examiner will be pissed off even if your story is good. Again, मेरा internet connection धीरे धीरे जा रहा है, problem हो रहा है यार। Okay, so anyway, scroll up। हाँ, तो अभी क्या मेरा जो main problem है ये तुम्हारे कहानी से कि ये जो बंदा है out of work artist जो है, why is he picked up by the police?
Because
and what is the evidence against him? Why does the police arrest him on charges of kidnapping the missing son of the politician?
It's because in CCTV footage, he was being with the missing son.
Missing son. Okay. So what was he doing with the missing guy? That is not explained. So is he really responsible, or he's just picked up on?
It's not responsible. He is a striking resemblance. So I didn't go into that story, sir.
Striking resemblance with the man caught on CCTV footage, है ना, कि वो बच्चे के साथ जो बंदा था सीसीटीवी फुटेज में जो दिखाई दे रहा था, अच्छा इसके साथ उसका रिसेम्बलेंस है, तो पुलिस उसको इंटरोगेट करने के लिए ले जाता है। फिर क्या होता है, वो वहां पे वो नर्वस हो जाता है ना। हाँ, फिर नर्वस हो जाता है, तो फिर क्या होता है, तो उसका फैमिली मेंबर्स आते हैं, है ना।
Yes, sir.
Then what happens?
Then he was taken to the court, sir.
अच्छा, कोर्ट में ले जा। हाँ, okay.
The family members said to him that there is no hope of coming out of jail. So the last hope he has is to run away from the police, sir. So he tried to escape.
हाँ, फिर वहाँ पे कुछ कफल वगैरह होता है, वो गलती से वो एक पुलिस ऑफिसर को मार देता है। पुलिस ऑफिसर
accidentally dies. It short, sir. Happened in hours. I didn't want to go for
it doesn't have a proper ending. और political uprising कैसे हो रहा है? Political uprising तुमने दिखाया?
It's because the political leader's son was missing, sir. So it's because of that.
हाँ, but it leads to a, तुम्हारा जो prompt है, it leads to a political uprising. But political uprising कहाँ पे हो रहा है? Political uprising तो नहीं हो रहा है. Political uprising तुम दिखा रहे हो, there's a political disturbance in the beginning because the son of a politician is missing. ठीक है? So beginning में है. लेकिन how does this guy cause a political uprising? That you have not mentioned.
Okay. Yes, I understood.
है ना? So
yes,
so you have not followed the prompt properly. Okay. So yeah, he could have been arrested because he resembles the guy on the CCTV footage. That I understand. Okay, and there's an interrogation. He becomes nervous and all, and he's taken to the court. तो वहाँ पे गलती से वो मार भी देता. लेकिन how does that lead to a political uprising? It's not very clear. This is number one. Number two, it's written. It looks as if it's written in a very hurried manner, and there's no punctuation mark. It's a very careless writing. Don't do that. Okay. Yeah. Chalo. Who's the next one? अभी कौन पढ़ेगा?
Sir, I can read. I'm OGC. Hello, good evening.
Shived Sunil, are you going to read? OGC. Yeah. Good evening. Yeah, where are you
Good
from?
evening, sir. I can read mine.
Hello, OGC, where are you from?
I'm from right now. I'm living in Delhi. I'm working in IIT Delhi.
Yeah,
But
just start
I'm-
reading. Yeah. Okay.
सर
okay.
वो कहाँ है?
Please scroll down to OGC's writing. मिला क्या?
Yes, this is it. So I will read. The girl in the yellow dress. My situation was
Yeah.
partying abroad, a cruise, an out of work artist, and becomes obsessed with a stranger. Beep vibrates a WhatsApp message. Rohan wakes up with a message. The message is a photo of a woman.
एक second.
As Ro-
एक second. Just a moment. I can't see the document.
Okay, no problem.
Document लाया गया क्या? Can you please display the document? Whoever is controlling it. Again, I am having problems with my internet connection. Is turning out to be a bad day for me. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Just display your document and start reading. Is it the girl in the yellow dress?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Chalo,
I will read again. Yeah. Beep vibrates a WhatsApp message. Rohan wakes up with the message. The message is a photo of a woman. As Rohan looks at it, he smiles, gets up, wears his blue shirt in which it's written "Following you." He combs his hair, gets out of the room. The sounds of waves follow him. He stands near the edge of a ship. An early morning wind moves his hair. He looks at the shining blue water and takes a deep breath. He reopens the WhatsApp image. It's a woman's painting in a yellow dress and carries a message with love from your biggest fan, Daddy. He looks at it and smiles again. Rohan moves towards an eating area where he fills his plate with bread, butter, and fruits. He sits on a chair near to a poster which says a week live rock party. There's decoration everywhere which is being taken out. Rohan is having his bread. His eyes moves up and on the edge of the ship there is a woman who is wearing a yellow dress exactly like that in the message. His bread falls on the plate. She is here again, he utters. He runs out and follows her. While following her, he utters, "Don't go again. Don't do it to me. I don't know who you are, but this time I will save your life." The woman vanishes after some time. Rohan runs and cries while screaming and falls down. After some time, he wipes his tears and walks back to his room in despair. The ship room is filled with collection of his paintings of a woman. Beeps his phone again, a WhatsApp message by his daughter. It's a voice note. As he plays the voice note, the daughter says, "Papa, I love you. I know you have been struggling after that accident. Your work is also struggling. You did not kill her, Papa. It was just an accident. I sent you to this week-long party to meet new people and relax with the therapeutic waves and wind. I love you so much. Your new collection is going to rock in the market and will bring you back. All the best." After listening to this, Rohan cries and cries. He He remembers a night when he was driving to take his wheelchair daughter to hospital, where after admitting his daughter, he came out in the hospital balcony to take a fresh air, where he looked at a woman who is wearing a yellow dress, standing on the edge of the balcony trying to jump. He screams, "Don't do this. What are you doing?" She replies, "It's too late. There's nothing that can stop me. I'm going." And she jumps. He is shocked and traumatized. This trauma makes him overly obsessed with the woman. He starts hallucinating her everywhere, trying to save her, and this destroyed his career. Then he started painting her everywhere. Remembering this, he cries. He goes out again and jumps in the water, swims for a while, starts floating, looking at the sky, trying to heal himself.
Hi, can you hear me, folks?
Yes,
I'm
yes.
using my, okay. I'm using my hotspot now because there's a major problem with the internet connection. So I just couldn't follow you throughout because of the network problem. So what I'll
Okay.
do, I'll just read out. I'll read out from the document that I have with me.
Okay.
It was mailed to me. Okay. So
Okay, definitely.
just a moment. Yeah. Just a moment. Okay, yeah. So can you hear me?
Yes,
Folks?
yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
sir.
girl in the yellow dress, parting abroad a cruise, and out of work artist becomes obsessed with a stranger. Beep vibrates a WhatsApp message. Rohan wakes up with the message. The message is a photo of a woman. As Rohan looks at it, he smiles, gets up, wears his blue shirt in which it's written following you. He combs his hair, gets out of the room. The sounds of wave follows him. He stands near the edge of the ship. An early morning wind moves his hair. He looks at the shining blue water and takes a deep breath. He reopens the WhatsApp message. It is a woman's painting in a yellow dress and carries message with love from your biggest fan, Daddy. He looks at it and smiles again. Okay. Rohan moves towards an eating area where he fills his plate with bread and butter and fruits. He sits on a chair near to a poster which says a live rock party. There is decoration everywhere which has been taken out. Rohan is having his bread. He moves up and on the
Sir,
edge of the ship.
It's his eyes moves up. I'm sorry. I think there is some mistake.
Okay. His eyes move up, and towards the edge of the ship, there's a woman who's wearing a yellow dress, exactly like that in the message. His bread falls on the plate. She's here again. He utters. He runs out and follows her. While following her, he utters, "Don't go again. Don't do this to me. I know. I don't know who you are, but this time I will save your life." The woman vanishes after some time. Rohan runs and cries while screaming and falls down. After some time, he wipes his tears and walks back to his room in despair. The ship room is filled with collection of his paintings of a woman. Beeps his phone again, a WhatsApp message by his daughters. It is a voice note. As he plays the voice note, the daughter says, "Papa, I love you. I know you have been struggling after that accident. Your work is also struggling. You did not kill her, Papa. It was just an accident. I sent you to this week-long party to meet new people and relax with the therapeutic waves and wind. I love you so much. Your new collection is going to rock in the market and will bring you back. All the best." After listening to this, Rohan cries and cries. He remembers a night when he was driving to take his wheelchair daughter to the hospital, where after admitting his daughter, he came out in the hospital balcony to take a fresh air, where he looked at a woman who is wearing a yellow dress standing on the edge of the balcony trying to jump. He screams, "Don't do this. What are you doing?" She replies, "It's too late. There's nothing that can stop me. I'm going." And she jumps. He's shocked and traumatized. This trauma makes him overtly obsessed with the woman. He starts hallucinating about her everywhere, trying to save her. And this destroys his career. And then he starts painting her everywhere. Remembering this, he cries, he goes out again and jumps into the water, swims for a while, starts floating, looking at the sky, trying to heal himself. Actually, he jumps into the sea, huh?
Yeah, the ship has that area where you can jump and come back.
Achha, this I didn't know. Jumps into the water. This area is inside the ship or it's outside the ship? It is inside the ship.
It's outside the ship. There is in the cruises and ships there are this जगह जहां से आप jump करके आप जा सकते हो. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So it's the story of, basically this is the story of an artist who's suffering from a trauma because he holds himself responsible for the death of a woman, for the suicide of a woman whom he could not save. So it's not his fault, but somehow he finds himself guilty, and he's being encouraged by the daughter. Who's not well, who's wheelchair ridden. She's trying to enthuse her father. Yeah, this is okay. But there's one problem. Again, as I was telling the other person before you, your punctuation marks are not proper. Okay, sometimes there are punctuation. So you have to be very, otherwise the examiner will feel it's a very careless kind of a writing. You cannot do that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise, it's a good story. He's constantly seeing visions of that woman, the woman who killed herself and all. Okay, chalo then. Yeah, the next one. Who else is there right now?
Sir, I can read out.
Adarsh Pandey. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mila?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
अच्छा, तुमने हिंदी में लिखा है, ठीक है, चलो पढ़ो। हाँ।
हाँ सर, कैरेक्टर है रिलीजियस जिलॉट, और सिचुएशन मैंने उठाया है वाइल सर्चिंग ऑफ अ लॉस्ट अम्ब्रेला, एंड उसका एक्शन है प्लान्स द परफेक्ट मर्डर।
अच्छा, religious lot while searching for his missing umbrella plans a perfect murder. Okay, it's a weird combination. हाँ, चलो पढ़ो, देखते हैं। हाँ
सिचुएशन किसी और के लिए है सर, मैंने प्रॉम्प्ट यूज किया है उस सिचुएशन का।
हाँ, ठीक है।
टाइटल है भीड़ में भट्ट। आवाज आती है, अरे मिश्रा जी, आप ज्वालामुखी देवी दर्शन के लिए जाइए, सुबह 4 बजे की आरती वहाँ इतनी अद्भुत होती है, क्या कहें, परमानंद आ जाएगा। हिमाचल प्रदेश की भीड़ नामक गांव के चौराहे में करीब शाम के 6:30 बजे आर के जनरल स्टोर पर दुकानदार राकेश कुमार भट्ट उम्र 55 अपने दोस्त जय मिश्रा उम्र 60 से बात कर रहे हैं। राकेश भट्ट: मैं करीब 3 बार जा चुका हूँ और मेरी मन्नत को देवी ने हर बार पूरी की है, उनकी कृपा है मुझ पे मिश्रा जी। जय मिश्रा मुस्कुराते हुए: जी जरूर भट्ट साहब, आप जैसे नेक धार्मिक सज्जन पर देवी कृपा न करे, ऐसा हो ही नहीं सकता। राकेश भट्ट: वैसे मैं बताना भूल गया आपको। राकेश अपने गले से पास के अलमारी से एक कार्ड निकालता है और उसे जय मिश्रा को देता है। जय मिश्रा: अच्छा, बड़े भाई साहब का दिन है इसी सोमवार को। राकेश भट्ट: जी हाँ, पूरे 10 साल हो जाएंगे, 62 से, आज हो गया सितंबर 1972। जय मिश्रा: बहुत याद आती है उनकी, कितना कुछ सीखा है हमने उनसे। तभी एक मेहरून रंग का धोती व गमछा पहने करीब 40 वर्ष का बौद्ध सन्यासी दुकान आता है। छत्ता को दुकान के सामने बने बरामदे में रखता है, भट्ट की तरफ देखता है। मिश्रा और भट्ट शांत होकर उसे देखते हैं। सन्यासी: एक ताला चाबी देना। राकेश भट्ट: कितने वाली? सन्यासी: कोई भी, सस्ती। राकेश भट्ट: अरे किशन, एक ताला ले आ, 2 रुपए वाला। एक पतला सा किशोर लड़का अंदर से ताला लेकर आता है और सन्यासी को देकर अंदर वापस चला जाता है। सन्यासी पैसे देकर अपने रास्ते चला जाता है। राकेश उसे घूरता रहता है। राकेश: ये साले सब फरेब है, सब चाइनीज है, उनके लिए ही काम करते हैं। जय मिश्रा: अरे नहीं भट्ट साहब, बहुत शांति प्रिय लोग हैं, बेचारे सन्यासी हैं ऊपर से। राकेश: सब ढोंग है मिश्रा, सब ढोंग है, दीमक है, देश को खतरा है इनसे। जय मिश्रा: बेचारे रिफ्यूजी हैं, चीन के दमन से तो भागकर यहाँ शरण लिए हैं, सरकार ने सोच समझ के उन्हें यहाँ बसने दिया है। राकेश: सब चीन का प्लान है मिश्रा। जय मिश्रा: चलिए जो भी हो, हम चलते हैं भट्ट साहब, भोजन का वक्त हो रहा है, आपने कर लिया भोजन? राकेश भट्ट: नहीं, आज गुरुवार है, मेरा उपवास है, पर मैं भी चलता हूँ, घर कुछ देर आराम कर लूँ, शहर जाना है शाम में सामान खरीदने पूजा का। जय मिश्रा: जी ठीक है। जय मिश्रा कुर्सी से उठकर अपने घर की ओर निकल पड़ता है। राकेश गल्ले से पैसा निकाल जेब में रखता है। राकेश: किशन, मैं घर जा रहा, देख ले अभी दुकान, और हाँ, सब सामान ठीक से अंदर करके ताला लगाना। अंदर से आवाज आती है, किशन हाओ। राकेश अपनी कुर्सी से उठ दुकान से बाहर निकलता है और देखता है सन्यासी का छाता वहीं पड़ा हुआ है। वह उसे उठा अपने साथ घर के लिए निकल पड़ता है। अगली सुबह राकेश दुकान आता है। किशन बाहर आंगन में झाड़ू लगा रहा होता है। राकेश अपने चप्पल अंदर जाता है, वहीं दीवार में रखी लक्ष्मी जी की माता की तस्वीर की पूजा करता है और अपने गल्ले के समक्ष कुर्सी में बैठ जाता है। कुछ ग्राहक आते हैं, सामान लेकर चले जाते हैं। तभी वही बौद्ध सन्यासी दोबारा आता है। सन्यासी: कल मैंने शायद छाता छोड़ भूल गया था, आपने देखा है? राकेश उसे देखता है। राकेश: हाँ, आपका छाता था क्या वो? अरे मैं सोचा कि किसने छोड़ दिया है, मैंने उसे अपने स्टोर रूम में रख दिया कल उसे। सन्यासी: क्या आप उसे मंगवा देंगे? राकेश: चलिए मेरे साथ, मैं ही दे देता हूँ आपको। सन्यासी: जी ठीक है। राकेश किशन को दुकान देखने का इशारा कर अपने कुर्सी से उठकर बाहर निकल जाता है। सन्यासी उसके साथ चलने लगता है। चलते हुए ही राकेश: तो कहाँ के रहने वाले हैं आप? सन्यासी: जी मैं नेपाल से हूँ। राकेश: अच्छा अच्छा। सन्यासी: जी। राकेश: और आपका कोई परिवार नहीं? सन्यासी: माँ है, वहीं रहती है, तो मैं लामा की पढ़ाई, बुद्ध की पूजा में जीवन समर्पित कर चुका हूँ। राकेश: अच्छा अच्छा। राकेश: नाम क्या है? सन्यासी: सोनम जोहो। राकेश सोनम जोहो को अपने स्टोर की ओर इशारा करता है। एक एकांत जगह में एक मध्यम आकृति का कुटिया। राकेश: बस पहुंच गए। सोनम जोहो: चलिए, छाता के बहाने आपसे पहचान हो गई। राकेश मुस्कुराता है, कुटिया का दरवाजा खोलता है, अंदर घुसता है। सोनम जोहो बाहर खड़ा है। राकेश: अरे अंदर आइए ना। सोनम जोहो अंदर घुसता है। एक खाली सा बड़ा कमरा। सोनम अंदर असहज महसूस करता है। राकेश अचानक से कुल्हाड़ी से जोरदार वार करता है। सोनम जोहो के गर्दन के पिछले हिस्से में कुल्हाड़ी फंस जाती है। सोनम जोहो अकस्मात आघात से तुरंत ही मृतदेह में बदल जाता है। राकेश: क्रोध बदले की भावना के साथ चिखते हुए, सुशील भैया ये एक और बलि आपके नाम पे, हर साल एक चीनी कुत्ता मरेगा, इन्होंने आप लोगों को धोखा दिया इसलिए आप लोग की टोली मरी, मैं इन कुत्तों की बलि हर साल दूंगा, ये मेरा प्रतिशोध है। राकेश उठता है और सोनम जोहो के देह से उसकी अनामिका उंगली काटता है और एक थैली में रखता है। कुटिया के बाहर निकल राकेश एकदम साधारण अंदाज में दरवाजा बंद कर उस एकांत क्षेत्र में अपने घर के लिए निकल पड़ता है। एक पहाड़ी लकड़ी से बना 2 मंजिला मकान, वहां अंदर वो घुस सीधे कमरे में घुसता है। वहां तस्वीर किसी फौजी की टेबल में रखी रहती है, उसके नीचे कई बक्से रखे हैं, उनमें से क्रम में दूसरे बक्से को निकालता है। बक्से में 9 छोटी और उंगलियों के अवशेष नजर आते हैं, उसी बक्से में वो 10वीं उंगली भी रख देता है। फिर बक्से को यथावत रख तस्वीर को बड़े मासूमियत के साथ देखता रहता है। तभी कमरे में एक व्यक्ति घुसता है। राकेश, सारे इंतजाम हो गए पूजा के? प्रकाश, उम्र 40, जी भैया, पंडित जी रविवार शाम आ जाएंगे। राकेश, जाओ स्टोर रूम में सफाई कर दो, अच्छे से, कुछ भी बचा या रंगा ना रह जाए ख्याल रखना। प्रकाश, जी भैया। प्रकाश रूम से बाहर निकल जाता है। राकेश उस तस्वीर को देखता रहता है बैठकर।
This is very interesting story. Yeah. तो या उसका रीजन क्या है मारने का, मतलब I just
सर एक्चुअली क्या है,
हाँ,
वो मैंने उस स्टोरी में
हाँ,
जो स्टार्टिंग में उस फौजी एक भाई का वो कर रहा है, वो क्या है,
हाँ,
प्रेजेंट किया है कि वो जो उसके भाई साहब रहते
हाँ,
हैं जो 10 साल पहले मर चुके होते हैं 1962 की लड़ाई में। उसके बाद इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ने
अच्छा,
वहां पर तिब्बतियों की शरणार्थी तब भी तिब्बत कॉलोनी बीड़ नामक एक जगह में बसाई हुई रहती है। तो वहां पर ये जो कोर वहां के हिंदू परिवार से रहते हैं, उनके भाई के जो डेथ हो रहा रहता है, तो उनके अंदर का एक द्वेष भावना है उन चाइनीज जैसे दिखने वाले लोगों के लिए जो है तिब्बत के, बट वो एक विचारधारा जो एक जैसे दिखते हैं, तो सब चाइनीज से साले ये वो, उसके अंदर का द्वेष भावना दिखाया मैंने। देन और जो 9 उंगली, जी जी जी,
मैंने वो गलत काम कर रहा है, मतलब उसको महसूस नहीं है
टोटल
चाइनीज कौन है, टिबेटियन कौन है, बुद्धिस्ट कौन है।
हाँ, और वो पूरा
मतलब
रिलीजियस क्योंकि और देवी का पूजक मैंने स्टार्टिंग किया ज्वालामुखी देवी से, क्योंकि भक्ति के पूजक होते हैं और एक शक्ति के पूजक होते हैं। शक्ति के पूजक बलि का थोड़ा वो उनके में वो रहता है जी, तो उस हिसाब से मैंने इसको प्लॉट किया कि सिर्फ सिचुएशन दिखाता जाऊं मैं।
हाँ, तो ठीक है, ये बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी है, बहुत ही मतलब हॉरर जॉनरा का है। लेकिन क्या है, ये तुमने जो मैंने पहले भी बाकी स्टूडेंट्स को बोला हूँ कि देखो डायलॉग्स जहां तक हो ना, जितना ज्यादा डायलॉग्स जरा अवॉइड करो, ठीक है ना, जितना, क्योंकि देखो तुम फिल्म स्टूडेंट बनना चाहते हो, फिल्म इंस्टीट्यूट में जाना चाहते हो, उनका फर्स्ट क्राइटेरिया ये है विजुअल्स। ओके, विजुअल्स हम लोग दो भी कॉल इट ऑडियो विजुअल। फर्स्ट एलिमेंट, इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट इज विजुअल, सेकेंडरी एलिमेंट इज द डायलॉग्स। Okay, sound is equally important, of course, but dialogues are there to, I mean, as a secondary problem. Okay, so तुम अगर कोई कहानी लिख रहे हो वहां पे तुम पूरा ही डायलॉग्स के ऊपर अगर निर्भर करोगे, डिपेंड करोगे, तो वो तुम्हारे खिलाफ जा सकता है।
मैंने वो बैलेंस करने की कोशिश करी,
जितना डिस्क्रिप्शन कर सकते हो, जितना बिहेवियर, जितना एक्शन, हाँ वो देखा मैंने देखा, हाँ वो है, बैलेंस है। आई मीन सो मैं देखो, अगर मैं एग्जामिनर हूँ तो इसको अच्छा ही मार्क्स दूंगा। ये जस्ट हमारे, अगर दूसरा कोई सिचुएशन अगर तुम लिखोगे तो ये सब दिमाग में रखने का है, ठीक है ना। ट्राई टू मेक इट एज विजुअल एज पॉसिबल।
सर एक डाउट था
मेरे को, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरी। या
सर एक डाउट था, क्योंकि सर मैं इंग्लिश में पोटेंशियल है, कंफर्टेबल हूँ, बट एक्चुअली हेलो यस सर,
वॉइस क्रैक कर रहा है फिर से मेरा नेटवर्क का। हाँ बोलो। हाँ
सर मैं ये कह रहा था कि अंग्रेजी से मैं कंफर्टेबल हूँ, बट मेरा पोटेंशियल हिंदी राइटिंग में है, तो एफटीआई में मैं हिंदी परस्यू करूँ और उसका कोई प्रेजुडिस तो नहीं है कि यार ये हिंदी बेल्ट के लोग हैं, समथिंग लाइक दैट?
नहीं, एब्सोल्युटली नॉट। हाँ, तो तुम्हें जो कंफर्टेबल लगता है तुम वही भाषा में लिखो, ठीक है ना। तो ऐसा नहीं है अंग्रेजी में तुम्हें लिखना जरूरी है, हाँ, ऐसा एकदम नहीं है।
सर और मेरे राइटिंग में मतलब ये था कि मैंने इसमें कुछ वो नहीं देखा, मैंने अभी जस्ट प्रिपेयर किया इसे और उसको वैसा सजाने का कोशिश किया, तो प्रॉम्प्ट मैंने जैसे यूज किया वो ठीक था या कुछ और बेटरमेंट उसमें किया जा सकता था?
नहीं ठीक था। रिलीजियस लॉट प्लान्स अ परफेक्ट मर्डर, ओके, और दूसरा और क्या, और मिसिंग अम्ब्रेला, वो
मैंने मॉन्क का डाल दिया था जी।
हाँ हाँ हाँ, तो वो ठीक है, you have used all the elements. हाँ.
Thank you so much, sir.
हम्म. ठीक है, चलो अभी who's next?
Hello.
Yeah,
Am I audible, sir?
you're audible, Soham. Okay. अच्छा, एक बार चेक कर लूँ सोहम, तुम्हारा अलग से कोई डॉक्यूमेंट मुझे मिला कि नहीं, यार इतना नेटवर्क।
यही स्टोरी आपको भी मेल की है सर।
हाँ, मैं वही देख रहा हूँ। सोहम, सोहम, is it, एक सेकंड, is it the empty syringe?
Yeah sir, it's included here.
अच्छा, एक सेकंड, हाँ, एक सेकंड, let me open the document. The problem. Okay, empty syringe. पढ़ो, हाँ, yeah.
In a dark laboratory, Lobo, age 38, was sitting at a computer with his head between his hands.
एक second. A conniving scientist planning a perfect murder while babysitting a hyperactive child. ये conniving scientist था क्या इसमें prompt में? हाँ, अच्छा. A conniving scientist, पहली दफे somebody is using conniving scientist planning a perfect murder while babysitting a hyperactive child. अच्छा, interesting है. चलो पढ़ो.
In a dark laboratory, Lobo, age 38, was sitting at a computer with his head between his hands. His pale face, red eyes, and dark circles were adding mystery to his personality. He had not slept well in past 3 weeks, all thanks to Rohan, who was jumping on the bed in the room beside, yelling at the top of his lungs. It all started when his ex-wife asked him to babysit her 12-year-old son due to an emergency on her husband's side of families. Yes, it was surprising for him too, but he loved her way too much to say no to her face. Just a moment after she went away, Lobo started regretting his decision when Rohan started smashing test tubes in his lab. Lobo's client doctors were constantly calling him to check his progress about the new ways to practice euthanasia without any suspicion. But Rohan barely slept yesterday. He was hyperactive. I guess there are some mistakes, but all right. He ran around constantly breaking stuff, tearing Lobo's research paper, and soon the house was a mess. Lobo scared him with an injection so he would be calm, but the idea turned out to be useless after the first day. Lobo didn't care about the child, but he could not ignore the resemblance between the face of child and the photo of his mother sitting on Lobo's desk. Often he used to get lost in the memory of his devastating marriage life. Even today, he was writing an email to his client. He wrote, if a large air bubble entered in a blood vessel, it could create a blockage and cause heart attack and potentially a painless death. This could be easily done with the use of a syringe filled with air, but need to experiment further on a living thing. As he was about to finish typing, his hand suddenly pained. He caressed his old wound from the years ago when he was injured in a fight with his wife. Looking at the blue-black skin of his hand, his blood boiled up and angrily he broke the photo frame on the table. He cried out aloud, I hate you, I want to hurt you, just like you did to me. And just then, it started raining in the house. Rohan had triggered the fire alarm manually. Before Lobo could shut it down, all the data in his computer was lost. His research of months was gone. Lobo was furious and yelling at Rohan, but Rohan was indifferent until Lobo brought injection to scare him. Rohan started crying after seeing the big needle, and soon he was out of breath, gasping for air. And just then, Lobo's eyes sparkled. He held Rohan's hand and filled the syringe with air. He had to see if this could work practically. He held Rohan's slim hand full of greenish veins. Rohan was trying harder with every passing second. He was about to push the needle in Rohan's hand when doorbell rang. Lobo opened door to his ex-wife. He warmly welcomed her. Rohan ran towards her, crying, and hugged her. The ex-wife asked Lobo, what happened? Why is he crying? And Lobo replied calmly, nothing. He was just fooling around, so I was scared to give him an injection and he started crying. Ex-wife laughed. She kissed Rohan and thanked Lobo for guarding him and soon left with her husband. Lobo waved goodbye and closed the door behind them. When he looked back the empty syringe was still lying on the ground. That's it.
Yeah. When you look at the empty planning, hello, can you hear me? Or have I lost you again?
No, sir, you are audible.
Can you hear me? Achha, so he ultimately, he does not kill the child. Is
No,
that
no,
so?
no. No.
Huh?
Yes, sir, he doesn't kill
So
the child.
he was planning to kill the child, he was angry and all that.
Yeah.
So the child is saved at the nick of time, thanks to the arrival of the mother.
Yes.
Yeah. So, this is very interesting. The concept is very interesting. A conniving scientist. Your character is a scientist. He is not a struggling artist. Okay, like most of the other students. Okay, and he's trying to kill a little boy. Okay, and it's quite unusual. And there's a lot of tension and there's a lot of drama. And what I like most about the story is you have concentrated in a single space. Okay, it's very, very concentrated. It's happening almost in real time. Okay, and it make a very interesting short film if you can make it. Okay, though I'm not required to make a film right now. Okay, but it is quite good, very interesting, and very kind of, it has that dramatic tension, the frustration and the irritation that is going through. Okay, so the mood swings, the emotions have been well portrayed. Yeah, this is good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And your choice of the protagonist is also quite unusual. The conniving scientist. Okay.
Yes.
Chalo, who is next?
Hello.
Kaun hai, bolo?
Am I audible, sir? Hello.
Asharullah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Chalo, please. Yeah,
Good
you're
evening,
audible.
sir.
Please display your. Please. Good evening. कहाँ से हो तुम?
Sir, basically I'm from Jharkhand, but I'm staying in New Delhi.
In where? New Delhi.
Yes, sir. I'm also an offline craft student.
Okay, start reading.
Okay, sir. The Spoils of Man. Kawasaki Ninja 650. Yes, sir.
पढ़ो फिर तुम्हारा पहले read the prompt ना. What are the elements that you
prompt which I have chosen
borrowed from
is
the three different centers?
The prompt which I chosen, sir, is an out of work artist partying abroad aboard a cruise and causing a political uprising.
अच्छा,
So,
okay.
shall I start?
चलो.
Shall I start?
Yeah,
sir?
yeah, of course, yeah.
Kawasaki Ninja 650,
Yes,
a
yes.
super bike, was roaring on NH66 Mumbai-Goa highway with the power of its 67.3 horsepower 649cc BS6 engine at the speed of 140 kilometers per hour. Suddenly, Arjun pressed the brake lever and killed the speed and stopped at the underpass at Kashedi Ghat to smoke a cigarette after driving for 2 hours. He takes out a pack of Denhil and a lighter from his pocket and lights it, takes a drag and checks his phone. There is a message from his friend Afzal about the change in the plan of his wedding schedule, which will now happen 2 days later, since his in-laws are waiting for some important guests who are expected to come from France. Arjun R. Naidu, a 34-year-old Tamilian, lives in Juhu in his lavish apartment of 1,420 square feet.
Just a moment, please scroll up. I can't see Arjun. So Arjun se paro. Arjun se paro. Arjun R. Naidu.
Okay, sir.
यहाँ से पढ़ो.
Yes, sir. Arjun R. Naidu, a 34-year-old Tamilian, lives in Juhu in his lavish apartment of 4,220 square feet was once one of the renowned painters in India. He stopped painting after he painted The Spoils of Man, a painting which highlights the sufferance of female in a patriarchal society with respect to morality and rigid societal and religious rules and codes. He was applauded for his work, but there was also huge protest in different parts of country because many people and leaders thought that he was promoting immorality in the country using his artwork, which highlighted mainly the theme of free will, irrespective of gender, religion, caste, or any other codes and rules that tries to bind human imagination and actions. The people with no artistic understanding often protested and took violent measures whenever he was seen and hurled abuses. This affected him mentally, and he decided to stop his work and settle down with his ancestral as well as wealth which he acquired as a painter. He was going to his childhood friend Afzal's wedding, which was taking place in Goa at Riva Beach Resort 3 days later, but now has been rescheduled. He texts back to Afzal, I am on, will reach within 3 hours at Kashedi Ghat. He keeps his phone, finishes his cigarette, and resumes the journey. He arrives at 7 p.m., goes to his hotel, takes the shower, and then goes for a walk to Palolem Beach, which is just 300 meters away from the hotel. He takes a bottle of Budweiser and calls Afzal to inform about his arrival. He sees 2 yachts named Poseidon along the beach, which were playing very loud music, and people were dancing and having fun and doing all the stuff that Goa is famous for. He sees an advertisement banner just next to him at a small cafe, which was few meters away from where he was sitting. It stated, Poseidon, the god of ocean, welcomes you to an amazing and outstanding night when you are in Goa. Economic suite costs 5,000, premium suite costs 10,000, and Poseidon suite costs 1 lakh. Come and feel godly. Log on to www.poseidonyachts.com to feel like God. Arjun logs into the website and finds that all the suites are full in general and premium category, and only 2 are available in Poseidon suite. Thinks about his asset and books the suite. A message pops up about 1 lakh debited from your account. At the same time, another message pops up from PoseidonYachts.com giving the pass entry code and special password which every member gets, and they have to enter at door while entering Poseidon suite. Another message pops up from yachts.goa requesting for location, as they will send a team to welcome him and bring him to the cruise with utmost ease and comfort. He allows the request, and after 10 minutes, a pair of Mahindra Thar came and requested him to get in. He follows them while taking sip of his Budweiser, and they soon reach a much peaceful and secluded beach with nearly no tourists, as this was the private property of Poseidon Private Limited. He could clearly see a gigantic cruise at a distance, which was an absolute perfect piece of marvelous shipbuilding industry made with the most excellent and finest quality of composite fiber reinforced plastic. The cruise was not less than a king's palace. As he reached and got on board, he could see the interiors of cruise. He was experiencing a true once in a lifetime experience. The high-end materials that were used, like marbles, leathers, velvets, in designing the interior were far more superior than any 5-star hotel. The room which Arjun got had a Georgian style wall paneling, a majestic chandelier, a huge wardrobe, an inbuilt bar with most precious and rare drinks, and a bed which had its own story of being used by the Prince of Amer, and had the best handcrafted bed sheets and countless number of things for which it can be praised. Arjun took the onboard tour of the cruise and acknowledges its builders. He is soon given a program catalog and informed that he should feel entirely comfortable and would be provided anything he demands. He goes through the catalog and sees that there will be a rave party at 2 a.m. with the theme of peace. He goes to his room, takes out the drinks from the wine cabinet, orders for some refreshment, drinks a glass, and rests for an hour. He hears a lot of commotion and is informed that many other guests are coming for the party who are highly influential people. An attendant comes with a pack consisting the dress and mask which was designed based on today's theme. She tells him that he should leave all his electronic gadgets in his room regarding privacy and identity of other guests. All the allotment time, at the allotted time, DJs started playing their music and the guests started appearing in the ballroom. Arjun somehow managed to sneak in with his GoPro to document the party. There were nearly 20 people in the hall. All wore white dresses with different designs. Masks were a significant thing, which showed the status of people in the room. One who wore lion or tiger-faced mask were the people in power. One wearing cheetah and jaguars were industrialists, and other wore masks of smaller animals like jackals, fox, and monkeys. Arjun wore a fox and was recording the ongoing program from the GoPro, which he hid under his belt, only exposing the camera lens so that it can record. There were males and females of different age groups. It was easy for him to guess their age with his or her voice, body shape, and the language and accent they used while talking. The politicians and industrialists were surrounded by girls all around doing sensual acts while drinking. Ladies were busy with male escorts. One man wearing a jackal's face was injecting psychoactive solution with the help of a bald male who was a stripper. He then bites a pink capsule, holds it between his teeth, removes the mask from his face, and kisses his bald maid. He was none other but the Secretary of State's Tourism Minister, and his boss could be easily recognized from his shape and stature a few meters away, busy with some females. These were the people who always protested and spoke against his artwork and claimed it to be immoral and indecent, who were at this very time taking showers in the pond of morality and decency. Call it fate or karma. All their morality was recorded in a small device and was enough to bring a political uprising and change the government if this video was presented in public domain. The exact same thing happened the next day. A series of protests broke across the state of Goa, and the assembly was dissolved immediately after the resignation of tourism minister and other prominent leaders of ruling party. The other ministers and leaders of ruling party were exposed by him, who were involved in different scams since they could not do anything to save him, and he named them all, and thus the government fell and the president's rule was implemented. Many leaders of ruling party were arrested, and this became the most sensational news of the decade. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay. देखो, first of all, there are a couple of observations which I want to make. तुम्हारा कहानी कौन सा कैरेक्टर से शुरू हो रहा है और कौन सा कैरेक्टर में जाके मतलब खत्म होता है, बोलो.
Sir, it starts with Arjun, who is driving and going to Goa for his friend's wedding. Then eventually, since the wedding has been postponed, so he spends some time sitting on beach, and then he sees an advertisement, which he books the yacht, and then he goes to the cruise, and different things happen.
हाँ, देखो, समझ गया मैंने. हाँ, देखो, तुम्हारा मेन प्लॉट जो है, तुम्हारा जो मेन कहानी है वो अर्जुन के बारे में, ठीक है ना. हाँ, और तुम जो उसका दोस्त का शादी के लिए जा रहा है, ओके, दोस्त का नाम क्या है, वो अफजल है ना.
अफजल, जी.
हाँ, अफजल का तुम कैरेक्टर जो इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हो, तुम अफजल से शुरू करो, वो बाइक पे है, वो जा रहा है. हाँ, तो ऑडियंस को लग रहा है, रीडर को लग रहा है अफजल का कहानी है, लेकिन अब ये अफजल का कहानी नहीं है. ये कहानी एक्चुअली है
अर्जुन का,
अर्जुन का कहानी है ना. फिर अफजल एकदम गायब हो जाता है, मतलब अफजल को तुम रेफर ही नहीं करते, ठीक है ना. तो रीडर जो है या ऑडियंस जो है तुम्हारा फिल्म अगर देखेगा तो वो थोड़ा सा कंफ्यूज हो जाएगा. सो अफजल इज जस्ट अफजल या अफजल का मैरिज जो है, इट इज जस्ट अ ट्रिगर और इट्स जस्ट एन एक्सक्यूज फॉर द मेन प्लॉट. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's just an excuse or a trigger. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
शुरुआत में ये लग रहा था अफजल is the main character, which he is not. तो तुम्हारा जो कोशिश ये रहना चाहिए कि अफजल का कैरेक्टर तुम दिखाओ ही मत, ठीक है ना. अफजल का कैरेक्टर नहीं दिखा के, उसका शादी का उल्लेख नहीं करके मैं क्या इसका कहानी बोल सकता हूँ. who is an artist basically, अच्छा ड्राइंग करता था, पेंटिंग करता था, लेकिन क्या है जो प्रोटेस्ट वगैरह के वजह से now he has been blacklisted etc. He's sad with life. Okay.
Then he decided to go. Sir, I can change it like this. Can I say?
अभी चेंज ना, of course you can change it. अभी चेंज करने का जरूरत नहीं है, because this is just a kind of a feedback that I'm giving. Okay. So तुम्हारा क्या हुआ, एक कैरेक्टर कम हो गया है ना, तुम्हारा ड्यूरेशन भी कम हो गया. So maybe he goes to the cruise out of frustration, just to let his hair down.
Yeah, same thing I was saying. I will change it to this.
हाँ, so
that he goes to Goa to have some change of hair.
नहीं है. हाँ, एग्जैक्टली. और वहां पे जाके वो, अरे ये तो यही लोग हैं जो हमें परेशान किए थे, करे थे, प्रोटेस्ट किए थे वगैरह वगैरह. फिर बाकी जो है सही है. एंड व्हाट आई लाइक अबाउट योर राइटिंग इज तुम्हारा डिटेलिंग बहुत अच्छा है. तुमने वो जो पार्टी जो तुमने डिस्क्राइब किया, the details, and this I'm telling this to everybody. तुम जो कहानी लिखोगे प्रॉम्प्ट के सहारा लेकर, वहां पे डिटेलिंग करो. तुम जितना डिटेलिंग करोगे, सिनेमा और विजुअल राइटिंग, they are looking at whether you're capable of imagining visually or not. और visual writing का फर्स्ट क्राइटेरिया ये है कि डिटेल्स. Okay, but not unnecessary details. ऐसा नहीं है कि तुम टेलीफोन डायरेक्टरी लिख रहे हो, हर चीज डिस्क्राइब करना जरूरी नहीं है. वही तुम डिस्क्राइब करोगे, उसी का डिटेलिंग करोगे जो प्लॉट से जुड़ा हुआ है, जो प्लॉट से एक मतलब बनता है, ठीक है ना. अननेसेसरी डिटेलिंग करोगे तो वो बोरिंग हो जाएगा. तुम्हारा जो डिटेलिंग है, तुम्हारा जो डिस्क्रिप्शन जो है, वो बहुत सही है और बहुत अच्छा है, ठीक है.
Thank you, sir.
The different costumes that they are wearing, the different masks, the different kinds of the strippers, the male escorts, what they are wearing, what exactly is happening, etc. It is very very good. ठीक है. So I just felt कि वो अफजल का कैरेक्टर नहीं भी रहने से सकता.
Sir, but
okay. चलो then.
It took me 2.5 hours to write this.
सबको टाइम लग रहा है. पहली बार तुम ऐसा कोशिश कर रहे हो,
because we have to see that it is coming in front of our eyes and we are visualizing it. We have to think about it, then we have to write.
वाह, क्योंकि पहली देखो तुम, हाँ, किसी का प्रैक्टिस है, तुम लोग का प्रैक्टिस नहीं है. अभी क्या है, अभी प्रैक्टिस शुरू कर दो, क्योंकि अभी एग्जाम 1 साल बाद होगा. कब होगा मुझे पता नहीं है, तुम्हारा जो एंट्रेंस एग्जाम होगा, है ना. लेकिन ऐसा है, कहानी सिचुएशन तुम्हें लिखना पड़ेगा. एक प्रॉम्प्ट दिया जाएगा, ऐसा प्रॉम्प्ट हो सकता है या विजुअल प्रॉम्प्ट हो सकता है. तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट यू आर रिक्वायर्ड टू राइट अ स्टोरी, एंड दैट टू विदिन 15 or 20 minutes. You will not get 2 hours to work on a story. So you have to start practicing thinking very fast. ठीक है, ये पहली effort है तो उसी में तुम्हारा time लगता है.
Yes, yes,
ठीक
sir.
है?
Sir, one more thing. Sir,
हाँ, बोलो.
how much marks would you give to this out of 20?
No, that is let's not get into marks and all. I'm
Okay,
not required
how
to
many
give you
stars
marks,
would you give?
that would be speculation. ठीक है ना? No, forget stars and all. Then all those
Okay, sir.
start asking मुझे कितना stars मिला. I'll not get into that. ठीक है? But जो negative points है मैंने बोला तुम्हें, जो positive points
Yes,
है
yes.
वो भी मैंने discuss
Yes.
किया.
Okay.
ठीक है ना? Okay.
I will keep it in
Okay.
my mind.
चलो,
sir.
who's yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
चलो, अच्छा हम लोग थोड़ा सा 5 मिनट का ब्रेक ले यार. मतलब थोड़ा सा एग्जॉस्टिंग हो जा रहा है. आज नेटवर्क का भी काफी इशू है. जस्ट विल टेक एग्जैक्टली 5 मिनट्स ब्रेक. विल बी दैट 7:45. ठीक है ना? ओके, 7:45.
So can I read?
Yeah, read, yeah. Okay. कौन अभी है? Who's that?
Prashant.
Prashant. Prashant. Okay, चलो प्रशांत पढ़ो. Come to your page. Okay, come to your page. मिला?
It's not.
किधर है?
It's not there, I think.
It's not there.
Sir,
It should have been there.
कल शाम को भेज दिया था.
मुझे भेजा था तुमने? मुझे नहीं भेजा था ना?
नहीं क्राफ्ट वाले में भेजा.
अच्छा, it's not there. Go down a little. I think.
फर्स्ट पेज वाले में नाम है बस, लेकिन वो उसमें वो नहीं है स्टोरी.
Strange. Scroll down, go down. Whoever is controlling. नहीं, ये तो हो गया अभी.
Should I just read it out?
No, you read out. You have it in front of you, na?
Yes,
must
sir.
have it. Yeah. वहाँ से पढ़ो. धीरे-धीरे पढ़ो, so हम सबको सुनाई दे सही तरीके से. Okay, चलो पढ़ो. Hello, have you started reading it?
1 minute, sir. Can I share screen?
Please share the screen, of course.
Is it visible?
Not yet. Now it's the monk, na?
Yes,
Prashant
sir.
Solanki, huh?
Yes.
है ना?
हाँ sir, हाँ.
Okay, चलो start reading. Yeah.
Sir, the prompt is searching for a lost umbrella. A religious zealot becomes obsessed with a stranger. I'll start reading.
अच्छा, ठीक है, चलो.
The forest looked lush and green, but it was also wet and muddy. Entering the forest would have been dangerous, but the monk knew that it was worth the risk. When his Bhante had handed the monk his umbrella, he felt notice for the first time in years, although he had hated the fact that his mind was still wandering. The physical dangers of the forest were not of concern to the monk. What made him sit at a rock as the day passed by was his psychological problem. Should he enter the forest for an inanimate object given as a gift by a brother Bhante? That shows how less he has progressed since he converted. But in the end, he knew that God was with him. He would give himself to a wolf voluntarily if that is what God had intended as his destiny. The monk would eventually enter the forest as it was not long before the sun set. He starts to look carefully, searching below him and at his eye level because he knew that climbing a tree is out of the question. His heartbeat is more detectable than the noise of the rattling insects. He hears the sound of the umbrella opening and closing, and he sprints towards it. And the next moment, while he runs, he realizes that someone in the middle of the forest is playing with his umbrella. But that does not stop his legs. He clears the last bush and sees that a teenage boy, that it's a teenage boy, a stranger. He looks at his albino face. The boy runs away as he drops the monk's umbrella, but the monk holds his ground, looking at him until he disappears into the forest. The monk is back at the monastery, but all he thinks about is the kid in the forest. He stares at the umbrella when he's supposed to sleep, and he replays the meeting with the kid when he should be sleeping. He can't meditate, nor can he eat. But the day he takes his decision is when he could not pray. He was supposed to be with God and only God. The monk is wearing a shawl which covers his face and shoulders. He is at a busy market among all kinds of people. He had forgotten the smell of jalebis and the disturbing dirt and pollution at a market. But these distractions are not big enough to catch his attention. What he was looking at was a lady bending down and picking up vegetables. She pays the money to the vendor and turns, but the monk manages to hide. He follows her, hiding from her and turning back when she takes turns. She gets inside her home and sits down. She too is albino. The monk scares her by entering her home. She starts shouting. Wait, wait, the monk says as he removes his disguise. What are you doing here? I have questions, the monk says. The woman takes a step toward the monk and he moves back. Stay where you are. She continues anyway and the monk moves away from her. She locks the door and says, I didn't want you to be embarrassed. You gave that boy your disease. It's yours too. She starts breaking down. It's yours too, this disease that I have. The monk looks down, contemplating how others would react if they knew his secret. What God thinks of him now, what God thought of him when he converted. That's it, sir.
The monk looks down, contemplating how others would react if they knew his secret. What God thinks of him now, what God thought of him when he converted. As I couldn't when he converted. I couldn't follow your story. Just come to the first paragraph. Roll up to the first paragraph. Like the first paragraph.
Yes, sir, this is the first one. This first paragraph.
The forest looked lush and green, but it was of.
Hello. Hello.
मेरी हिम्मत ही नहीं पड़ रही मेरी तो अभी हाँ ये तक करने की हिम्मत नहीं पड़ रही है.
Is sir there in the?
Yeah. Who was that? Can you share the screen again,
Sir,
please?
yes, sir. One
Yeah,
minute.
because again I lost the connection. Okay.
Yes.
The forest. Who is this Bhante character?
So Bhante is actually what monks call each other as like a brother.
Acha. So the forest looked lush and green, but it was also wet and muddy. Entering the forest would have been dangerous, but the monk knew that it was worth the risk. When his Bhante had handed the monk his umbrella, he felt noticed for the first time in years. Uh, what did he notice for the first time in years? Although we are still,
No, he felt a tension. I mean, he
Huh?
felt notice. He felt noticed, sir. Like from someone else, he felt noticed. Someone showed some compassion.
Acha, had uh, handed him the monk his umbrella. He felt noticed for the. Acha, he felt noticed for the
Achha, yes.
first time. Acha, in years, although he had hated the fact that his mind was still wandering. The physical dangers of the forest were not of concern. Uh, the physical dangers of the forest were not of concern to the monk. What made him sit at a rock as the day passed by was his psychological problem. Should he enter the forest for an inanimate object given as a gift by a brother? That shows how less he has progressed since he converted. But in the end, he knew that God was with him. He would give himself to a wolf voluntarily if that is what God had intended. So I'm not able to understand why does he enter the forest?
So because his umbrella is like it flew away. I didn't write that part.
No, you have
I
to
just
write.
started. Yes, sir.
It's getting confused now. That is why
Uh,
I asked you to come to the first paragraph. So he goes into the forest looking for his
yeah,
umbrella.
looking for his umbrella. Yes, sir.
Okay, and when he discovers the umbrella, he discovers there's a little boy who's playing with his umbrella. Is that
Yes,
so?
sir. Yes, sir.
And then what happens? The boy is an albino.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And then what happens? The boy runs away, or what?
Yes.
The boy runs away,
Yes.
leaving the umbrella
Leaving
behind.
the umbrella.
Behind. Then what happens? He comes out of the forest.
Yes, sir. Then he goes to his monastery, and all he
Ah.
thinks about is the albino kid.
He thinks that just about all he thinks about is a kid in the forest. He stares on the umbrella when he's supposed to sleep, and he replays the meeting with the kid when he should be sleeping. He can't meditate, nor can he eat. But the day he takes his decision is when he could not pray. He was supposed to be. He was supposed to be with God and only God. The monk is wearing a shawl. Now he goes to the marketplace, isn't
Yes,
it?
sir. Now he goes. Yes.
So why does he go to the marketplace? He goes there to buy something.
No, sir. To see his wife, the boy is actually his son, and the wife is also albino. So when he saw the boy,
Is that clear in the story that the boy is
no,
his son? So how will the reader understand?
yeah, I didn't make it clear.
So no, these things have to be clear now, because I got very confused when you reading out the story. कि ये
Yes.
हो क्या रहा है exactly? Okay, ये लड़का कौन है? Lady भी कौन है? Lady क्या बोलती है? नीचे आ जाओ.
Yes.
What are you doing here? So your story is not clear. Of course, the visuals, I can see the visuals. I can see certain actions happening, but the
Yes.
relationship that you're telling me now is not very clear.
Yes.
Okay, so there has to be clarity in whatever you write.
Yes.
Your story is lacking that clarity.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I'll work on it.
Yeah. Chalo then, who is next? और कोई है? Anybody left? कौन पढ़ेगा? निनद? बोलो. Go on, who's going to read? Yeah, Vasala, you want to read? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. So who's going to read now? Hello, please answer who's going to read.
Devices.
Ah,
Good laptop.
this is a good one.
This sucks.
You want to read, Vasala? Hello. क्या हो गया यार कुछ जवाब तो सर okay I can read
Sir,
it to
can you hear me?
yeah now I can hear you yeah
Sorry, sir. Something was wrong with my microphone. I think I can read now.
okay chalo read karo aap
Yes, sir. So the prompt is arrested due to mistaken identity and out of work artist becomes obsessed with a stranger. So Hariharan is roaming in the market in his banyan and shorts. He inquires about the difference in the prices of lemon and dhania, coriander. The vendor asks him what type of dhania does he want. Hariharan answers and is about to Paytm the 2 rupees for the hara dhania when a policeman yells, hey, you, pointing at him from a distance. Hariharan instinctively runs, his eyes comically enlarging in fright as the policeman yells the choicest expletives. The vendor also adds a swear word of his own. Hariharan bumps into a 6-year-old boy who falls and starts crying. The irate and overprotective mother holds Hariharan's arm and gives him an earful. Are mate, mujhe jane do. The woman does not listen and continues giving him a lecture. The policeman arrives there smugly and relaxedly with handcuffs and 2 others, a woman and a man. They load him up in the jeep. What is going on? Is unemployment a crime? The police woman threatens to make him permanently deaf with a strike in her heavy Haryanvi twang. Hariharan shuts up quick. At the police station, the same policewoman and the man who caught him are interrogating him. Pretty boy, that is your online username? The policewoman informs him in her heavy accent. What is this about? Hariharan asked politely. Pretty boy initially chatted with homemakers trapped in unhappy marriages on a dating site. He offered them his shoulder to vent. Later, the conversation progressed to WhatsApp. Pretty boy met these women multiple times in a month, leading to full-on affairs. He scammed these women of at least 5 to 6 lakhs each by making an excuse for urgent surgery. Hariharan vehemently denies these charges. I am a body artist. इसका क्या मतलब है? The police woman whispers to her male colleague in a suspicious tone. ये लोगों के बदन पर चित्र बनाता है. The colleague explains. The two still look highly suspicious. Look, Mr. Hariharan, these chats were sent from your machine. He grabs the enlarged photos of chats from a dating site and WhatsApp on the table in front of him. Suddenly, Hariharan remembers his stupid idea of creating an unemployment club and debating and discussing issues which would be productive for society. They all met at his house. 1 or 2 members became too impassioned while drunk and went on debating and eventually crying in the wee hours of the night. He often soaked with them too. Afterwards, he watched videos of beautiful women belly dancing and fell asleep. Ramesh and Christopher could have used his laptop after he fell asleep. But Christopher was the more handsome of the two and likelier to trap homemakers. He told all this to the police officers. They still suspect him, but examine his looks and attire one more time. Short, dark, greasy hair, unbarted, and unruly stubble in his vest and shorts. They decide that he is too unattractive to lure rich people's wives. Hence, they let him go. Later that night, Hariharan stays awake for a long time thinking of the chats between Christopher and a gorgeous housewife. When he falls asleep, he dreams of them sitting in a field of yellow sarso flowers similar to DDLJ. She has put her head on his chest. He is Raj and she is his Simran. He asks her how anybody could be as innocent and lovely as her. How could Christopher do this to her? On hearing Christopher's name, she gets mad, gets up, and walks off despite his injunctions. Over the next few days, Hariharan loses sleep. Finally, when he cannot resist, he checks for Pretty Boy's profile on Tumble. It does not exist. Tumble has removed it. He ends up creating the same profile. He recalls the username of the housewife and sends her a friend request. He squeals and rubs his hands. Initially, Jilmil is too mad at him, even when he explains that his friend did everything. They end up talking all night long. She explains to him that her situation is terrible. Her husband does not trust her anymore. However, she could try to gain his trust back if she returned the money that she has lost. Then Hariharan and her could meet openly. She says her husband does not love her. Hariharan sells his ancestral property for a slight loss in a record 14 days and transfers 5 lakh to Jilmil's account. He waits for Jilmil at her favorite cafe, this time shaved, adorning a designer suit and expensive watch. The breeze plays with his hair and he smiles. 10 minutes of waiting turn to 20, then 1 hour, then 2 hours. He messages her on Tumble to find out that she has already blocked him.
ठीक है, it's a funny story, interesting story. Okay, yeah. So what was the prompt? What was the one-liner?
Sir, arrested due to mistaken identity and out of work artist becomes obsessed with a stranger.
Stranger. This is good. Okay, this is good. Again, like your previous story, it has too much of dialogues. Okay, so I'll tell this to everybody. But whenever you're writing, whatever you're writing, the story prompt based on the prompt, try to restrict yourself to a single day or maybe a couple of hours, and try to avoid dialogues as much as possible, and try to concentrate on the action and the details. Okay, again, your story is like what had happened to him before. His friends must have taken advantage. Okay, so he gets an idea after he's released and all. Then he falls into a trap. It's a very interesting story. I'm not saying it's not interesting, of course. It's a fun story. It's an interesting story. Okay, but for the purpose of examination, try to pull down your story, pull down your plot, try to be much more concentrated. Okay?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
got it. I am kind of struggling with the dialogue thing, like I said in the previous class, but I'll work towards it.
Yeah. हम लोग क्या करते हैं इंस्टीट्यूट में, कोई भी फिल्म स्कूल में, and as a teacher and as a student of what we were taught, कि whenever you're working on a scene, try to think of the scene without dialogues. Okay, when you have exhausted all possibilities, जब तुम्हें लगेगा कि नहीं मुझे dialogues चाहिए ही चाहिए, तभी जाके तुम dialogues दो, उससे पहले dialogues मत. Okay, and in any film school, FTI हो या कहीं पे भी हो, SRFTI हो या foreign film schools हो, the first couple of writing assignments which the students are given, okay, no dialogues are allowed strictly. You write a silent situation involving a character in a particular situation, kind of. वो parameters दिया जाता है, लेकिन एक major criteria ये है कि dialogues not allowed at all. So the situation has to be such जहाँ पे dialogues का जरूरी ना हो. ऐसा नहीं है कि dialogues का जरूरी हो है लेकिन तुम उसको dialogues नहीं बुलवा रहे, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. ठीक है? So because the idea is to strengthen your visual thinking, to strengthen your visual clarity. That is the idea. Okay.
Yes, sir, that makes sense. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah. क्योंकि तुम पहले ही अगर dialogues लिखना शुरू कर दोगे, the students allowed to write dialogues, then it becomes a very lazy habit. And they immediately dialogues का सहारा लेके वो लोग कहानी लिखना शुरू कर देते हैं. ठीक है? अच्छा, प्रखर ने कुछ मुझे the story of a religious zealot killing a Tibetan monk with an axe in the storeroom. Whose story was? अच्छा. Please answer, Prakhar. That was a very interesting story. किसी ने हिंदी में लिखा था. तो अभी तो टाइम हो गया और कितने लोग बचे हैं? We can take it up later. Maybe next week. Or do we have time for a last reading? और कोई है पढ़ना चाहता है? Tushar, you want to read? I think with me, it will be Wednesdays and Thursdays, most probably. ठीक है? और कोई बाकी है? Or shall we call it a day? Nina, do you want to read? Who wants to read now? Please answer. अरे सौरभ, आशुतोष, ठीक है, एक काम करो, सौरभ और आशुतोष तुम दोनों मुझे मेल कर दो, ठीक है, या सर को बोलो मुझे मेल कर देने के लिए, since today your documents are not there, I'll find out time and read your stories and I'll give you feedback next time when I meet. Just remind me, yeah, Ashutosh and Saurabh. Yeah, ठीक है, चलो screen share करो. Let this be the last one because it's already 8:14. Yeah. चलो आशुतोष, you can share the screen. Okay.
Can you
हाँ.
see the screen?
थोड़ा सा enlarge करो, थोड़ा सा enlarge करो.
So
Okay,
now?
चलो.
Okay.
While searching for a lost umbrella and out of work artist, this is a stranger. This is the most common log line that most of you have chosen. Okay,
Yeah.
there's only one person who's chosen. We are conniving scientists. Okay, chalo, yeah, paro.
I would love to work with you, but this isn't the first time he was hearing these words. Sam, an aspiring screenwriter, came to Mumbai 4 years ago with a screenplay of his own in hopes of becoming the next Anurag Kashyap. Leaving MBBS just one semester before graduation wasn't an easy decision for him, but he knew once he gets the degree, there will be no going back. So he packed his bag, sold his books and notes for enough money to pay a few months' rent, and left to follow his dreams. One fine Bombay monsoon evening, after 4 years of same old robotic answers, small TV gifts to pay his rent, few more screenplays, and 100 more birds, he knew where the meeting was going, even before he started sharing his next big idea. Meeting ended just the way it always does, with a but. He shook his hands and thanked them for considering him at first, stuffed his bag with Bible and left the place. This time rather numb, not feeling angry or sad or disappointed, just a regular afternoon like any other day. To make this evening work, he finds out his umbrella is missing from the basket he kept it in. It's raining heavily outside. Maybe someone was in a hurry and took it by mistake. Or maybe they knew it wasn't theirs but took it anyway, he thought. He remembered his father calling him to tell him something good will happen today, according to his Rashi, if he wears red. He smirked and said, I knew I shouldn't have believed in this crap. He stepped outside, trying to stay below shades of shops to avoid getting wet, while trying to make his way to the bus stop. His place was walking distance, but no way he was gonna make it without getting cold. He notices the bus leaving the bus stop and jumps out of shed, only to slip because of a hole in the road. Someone grabs him and pulls him out. A young gentleman with magnificent eyes, who is built like someone out of a periodic epic fantasy film or someone out of one of his own screenplays. That perfect stranger. someone who doesn't exist in the real world, only in stories. He looks at him, face as red as his shirt. Are you all right? The stranger asked. Uh-huh. That's all he could get out of his mouth, a random sound. You wanna stand in the bus stop? Yeah, sure. He gets under his small umbrella on his way to the stop. He is getting wet from the left side of his body and his socks are soaked with water, but he couldn't care less. He is just very overwhelmed right now. Bus stop is packed. Everyone avoiding the rain is below the bus stop shed. They are just standing in utter silence, shoulders stroking whenever someone tries to get under the shed. So are you new here? Stranger asked. Oh yeah, I came to stay with a friend for vacation. Oh, that's cool. Do visit Marine Drive if you haven't yet. It's very nice this time of the year, especially at night while listening to Ek Tara. It's a whole mood, he replied. Sam laughed, but then went silent. He does not know why he lied just now. Was it because he does not want to seem like a failure? He has never lied about what he does, no matter what the other person thinks. So, what was special about the stranger? People in the shed started standing suddenly. It's the bus. The time has come. He felt very rushed and confused. The time he was with him was so less. I should have talked to him more, but I was just standing there still. I didn't even ask him about what he does. What is wrong with me? He thought, while people pushed him out of their way to get in the bus. That's my bus, stranger said, walking away from him, while he was just standing there, like someone just pleased him. He looked at him get in the bus and go away, just thinking, I don't even know his name. He gets out of the shed to stand under rain, getting wet, just so that no one can see him tear up, walking away. He hasn't felt disappointed in himself in years, not even after getting rejected for so long. He stops an auto. भैया मरीन ड्राइव चलोगे?
I think this is very good. You have captured a moment. There's a bonding with a stranger which is not fulfilled. There's a sense of loss. Okay, there's a sense of loss. First of all, he has been in the city for 4 years, struggling to be a writer, trying to gain some kind of a recognition, but he's not being able to achieve his purpose. And then this happens. This experience with the stranger happens in the Bombay monsoons. Okay, and he could have continued with the bonding, but the stranger leaves, gets into the bus. Okay, and he hails an auto to go back home. So it's a very delicate story. It's very poignant, and it's very, very kind of concentrated in time, which is desired. Okay, and it's very moving. This is what I can say. But there are two things I must tell you. First of all, there's one technical thing. कि वो क्या Marine Drive में रहता है? हाँ?
No, sir. In their conversation, strangers से बोलते हैं कि मरीन ड्राइव विजिट करना. तो
अच्छा
अब वो
उसीलिए
stranger चला गया तो इसलिए वो मरीन ड्राइव जाता है.
उसीलिए वो he feels inspired Marine Drive. Okay. I missed that out. Okay, so that's good. So that at least the stranger inspires him to visit Marine Drive whenever you have the time. Okay, so yeah, this is a lovely story. Poignant, very, very kind of palpable. Okay, so only one thing, try to avoid mentioning names of directors like Anurag Kashyap, whoever is the director. ठीक है ना? वो जरूरी नहीं. ठीक है?
Okay, sir.
तो ठीक है, चलो, this is good. हाँ, this is good. Okay.
I'll stop sharing.
Very poignant story. You have captured a moment. Okay, which is needed. ठीक है. चलो, let's back up for the stop sharing. So जिनका बाकी है, एक काम करो, मुझे मेल कर दो, मैं पढ़ के रखूंगा. Okay, and next time whenever we meeting, I think we'll be meeting next Wednesday. Okay, so I'll just very quickly discuss the stories with you guys. जिनका बच गया, and then whatever is the topic of that particular day, we move on to that topic. ठीक है? So let's call it a day then. See you next week. Okay.
Yes, sir. But before we sign out, is there anything we should do before our next lecture? As in read something
that Naresh will tell you what is what you're required to do. What is the topic of the next class? Okay,
all right. Yeah.
So Naresh will keep you updated. Okay, yes. But keep this make it a habit of writing whatever comes to your head. Don't be too judgmental on yourself. Don't be too strict on yourself. because you're all beginners. You are not expected to write a fantastic story. If you can already write a fantastic story and if you're perfect, then why do you need to go to a film school? Okay, so you'll commit mistakes, you'll have a lot of problems, but get into the practice of writing something or the other every 2-3 days. For 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes max. You not complete the story, but get into the habit. Because the more you write, the more you think. As some famous filmmaker Louis Buñuel had said, the imagination is like a muscle. Just as you go to the gym to and do machines to maintain your health and to maintain your develop your muscles, so imagination is also like a muscle. The more you practice imagination, उतना जल्दी ही तुम्हारा दिमाग में कहानी आएगा, एक स्ट्रक्चर बनेगा, एक शेप बनेगा. तुम जितना प्रैक्टिस करोगे, जितना सोचोगे, तो सोचना प्रैक्टिस करो. That is the first thing a director needs to do, a filmmaker needs to do, and be very, very observant of the life around. You have to be a very, very keen observer. आजू बाजू क्या हो रहा है, लोग कैसे बात बोल रहे हैं, लोग कैसे बिहेव कर रहे हैं, लोग क्या कमीज पहने हैं, लोगों का क्या हाल है उस वक्त. वो ऑब्जर्वेशन पावर डेवलप करना बहुत जरूरी है, because cinema is ultimately about details. ठीक है, चलो, so we'll meet again next week. All the best. Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Bye bye.